Here are your hosts for the Super Soaker, Ben and Skin. Ooh, soaked.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. It is time to get soaked. It is the Ben and Skin Super Soaker. I'm Jeff Skin Wade. He's Big Ben Rogers, and we're here to answer the question, can you get to fourth? It's the most important question that we ask every single day as we get ready to do a mixture of sports and weird. We will, at some point, we think, have Strip Mall Steve with the news bender. But for starters, how you feeling this morning, Benny Sana?
Feel really good, man. Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl, so I feel great about that. Derek Lively, the second, is the best player in the NBA. Truly. And we're going to be talking about JUGS today, so I feel good.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lineup. People are very stoked about this. Do I sound different to you by any chance?
Yeah.
I got Kermit the Frog just permanently lodged in the back of my throat.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a sassy lisp, and
hey.
And you sound real country.
Hey, buddy, let's do the soaker.
But no, yeah, a little bit of a frog throat. What was that? The reason for that?
I ate a bunch of frogs last night.
That's why they're disappearing.
Didn't swallow them properly. No, I don't know, man. It's sinuses, whatever time of year. It's just, man, whatever. You adapt and move on.
Look at that, dude. Look at Strip Mall Steve's comment.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's I'm ready to bend some news. That's a great point, Ben. We should let everybody know the comment section is ready for horniness. So if you guys want to jump in there and, post whatever you want to post, keep it clean unless you don't want to. We have our producer, DJ Theory, that is monitoring, not monitoring, but yes, monitoring all of that. And if you kind of wow him, I think that's the standard, right? We just got to wow DJ Theory to get up.
I mean, I'm just clicking on these.
Oh, okay.
I'm just clicking on. If you make a comment, like, here's one. Yo.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It's good. We'll take
Chase is not fucking around this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cowboys won 20-17 game-winning drive. I didn't write it down. Did you see the stat? I believe Dak now has 23 fourth quarter and overtime game-winning drives in his Cowboy career. That sounds like a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And man, like that drive, look, there's a lot of haters out there. Obviously, when you're the quarterback of the Cowboys, you're going to get so much criticism. But I really felt like, okay, well, first of all, it was a boring-ass game.
Yeah. It's
like 6-3 or something at halftime, or 10-6 going into the fourth, or it was just boring. But to have it all come down to that, a fourth down, this is it. This play wins or loses the game. To have him drive the team down the field, use the clock, all that, and then have it come down to that play and then make it happen, I felt like it saved the season. Like, I know that's probably irrational overreaction, but I mean, and it's so weird. It's kind of like going back and talking about Dirk. If Dirk hadn't won that championship in 2011, he still would be the same guy. It wouldn't have gone their way in that particular series, but it shouldn't change the way you feel about Dirk or whatever. And so they're still the exact same team with all the same problems and then all the same good things. But because they didn't lose that game, they're alive. And because the NFL is such a weird animal, they got a shot to go to the postseason.
Yeah, I don't know that they recover from 2-3 with the assumption that they will lose to the Lions next week. Now, that's the other thing about the NFL. We make these assumptions, and then a game happens, and a quarterback gets knocked out in the first quarter, right? And then everything's turned upside down. Man, we'll get to the Mavs in a second, but last night Harp was talking about, man, things happen in an NFL game where a dude, picks up a fumble and runs it back 98 yards, and that's the game. It's like weird crap can happen. Really good teams consistently put enough distance between them and an opponent to where they don't have to worry about that stuff. And if you really, look at that game, so the Cowboys had 2 red zone turnovers and a blocked field goal in a game that's, ends up being 20-17. That game early in the fourth quarter honestly should have been like, 21-10. And even still, having said that, the San Francisco 49ers are 2-3 because they let the Arizona Cardinals come back from a double-digit fourth quarter lead and beat them. and then you start looking at schedules. San Francisco, the best team in the NFC, better start winning games before. I know they have injury problems, but your season can end because you're sitting there at 2-5 before you get everybody healthy. And so with the Cowboys, knowing they have a bye week after the Lions, they really desperately needed to be 3-3. And so 2-4, that's too heavy. And so exactly what you said, I agree with. Now, they may end up going on a 5-game losing streak, but you have to look at where you are, what the season is, and if they're not 3-2 going into the Lions game and then a bye week, then I agree with you. I think the season is, for all intents and purposes, probably over.
I mean, the Niners are hard to get. I'm just looking at their schedule on this other screen, but the Niners are hard to gauge just because they're battling through so many different injuries, obviously.
Right.
But I could see the Cowboys losing to the Lions, losing to the Niners, losing to the Falcons, losing to the Eagles, and losing to the Texans, and losing to the Commanders. I could see them rattling off a super long losing streak.
Yep.
But because it's the nature of this game, it's like, how is it possible that the Cowboys just never really addressed? They missed on Mozzie Smith, maybe. He played good last week, but they don't really have defensive tackles, and they're losing all 4 of their defensive ends that they plan to go to battle with this season: Sam Williams, D-Law, Micah, and then Nealon gets hurt during the game. So you've also got Bland out. It's like, how are you able to suddenly right the ship defensively and look good? And so you have it's so easy to style point these things. Like, you look at the Giants, you're like, okay, you beat the Giants barely, but you beat the Giants and they suck. The Steelers, I thought the Steelers were better than the Cowboys. Steelers got off to a good start. They may need to bring in Russell Wilson now. They may not be very good.
It certainly wasn't. That didn't look like a good offensive team to me.
No, it did not. And then for a team that can't really run the ball, you ran the ball a little bit. I keep going back to. I wonder if Dalvin Cook has anything. I mean, why did you sign Dalvin Cook and he's just sitting there marinating on your practice squad? Does he have absolutely nothing?
Okay.
Or is it an idea that, look, we've got these old guys. We've got Dowdle, who's really a backup, but looked pretty good. Is it like Deuce Vaughn doesn't really even play that much or get involved that much, but he's on the roster? Mm-hmm. Is their plan like, look, we know that Zeke's going to get tired, and so we want to have Dalvin Cook to let the old guys switch out at some point? I mean, I don't know. The NFL is so much fun because you never know who's going to win. Anything can fucking happen. I love it, man.
Yeah, I do too. And there were rumors that Dalvin Cook, and maybe it's out there, he was getting first team snaps already. Not last week. So I think he'll play at some point. Zeke is already averaging under 6 carries a game, and we're heading into game 6. So they know what's there. Rico Dowdle has some ability. I don't think it's outrageous that he had 88 yards in that game or whatever he had on the ground. He had even more catching the ball, but that's not going to be a consistent thing. They're not going to have a consistent run game. It's going to be a matter of, and I know that, when you have a West Coast styled offense, or a lot of parts of the West Coast style offense, a lot of it is going to be, can we do quick passes out of the backfield, which we'll probably see even more of CeeDee Lamb, Turpin, things like that. Those guys getting the ball to try to balance your lack of run game. But I do think that one thing the defense just showed us, even though they played a bad offensive team, is that the defense can be way better than it's been. It's just a question of whether or not it'll be good enough consistently to where you're an upper echelon NFC team. And obviously the Commanders are racing away in the division early on. And it could be as simple as, if you just float around 500, your chance of winning the division could very well come down to if you can sweep the Commanders, which that's all ask right now. But that's the way it goes. You are literally in October. Man, go back and look at the Chiefs last year in October, and then they won the Super Bowl. By the way, the Chiefs are 5-0.
Right.
And that's part of that stretch that the Niners are going to have to play. So that's the beauty of the NFL season. If you don't have a catastrophic injury, which that's usually in regards to your quarterback, and you can just hover you can stay in the mix as weird crap happens.
Yeah, I think the Vikings and the Lions and the Commanders are on a different level, but maybe the Commanders come back down to earth with a rookie quarterback. Maybe he can't keep doing this. Can he continue this?
Can he?
I think the Cowboys are right there with the Bucks, the Packers, the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Niners, depending. They're a huge wild card, obviously. The Falcons, and then the Saints, who kicked their ass. And so
and have sucked since.
they're just in that mix, you know, and you watch them and they don't necessarily seem impressive. You're not watching but if somehow CD and Dak get back on the same page, they were on the same page. They didn't start off great last year, and then it was incredible. And CD looked like the best receiver on the planet. Then they weren't on the same page in the playoffs against the Packers, and they're not on the same page now. I mean, it's so weird that two guys that are paid so much money that are franchise players are over there having a conversation. Hey, jump ball. Like shouldn't they already have that? Shouldn't they already have that chemistry? I wish they did, and I think they can. But it's weird that they're not on the same page. I don't understand that.
I will buy into, obviously the last season ended horribly, and then them not working out together for a whole off season was bad. And I'm not going to blame CD. I'm not going to blame Dak. I'm not going to blame Jerry. That's just what happened. They didn't get together and they didn't get on the same page. So they ended the season in horrible fashion, which we should all blame McCarthy for that. And then they didn't get back together until the season started. So again, as you look at things that could get better, that's something that could conceivably get better. But huge game coming up against the Lions. And I think, obviously I haven't looked at the line. I would assume that the Lions are a big favorite in that game, even though it's here. But the Lions clearly look like the best team in the NFC by far to me. And then there's some other teams that look pretty good. I don't want to write off Minnesota, but they're rolling with a quarterback that they had no intention of playing. I mean, there was a chance they were going to start a rookie ahead of Sam Darnold. And then look at it. Wow.
A little worried about Aaron Jones's injury for them, but I do think I think those three teams, the Commanders, the Lions, the Vikings, are better than everybody else in the NFC. That could change in a couple of weeks. I am a little bit concerned that the Cowboys looked much better with Tyler Smith at left tackle than they did with Tyler Guyton.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little concerning. It's like, okay, I mean, you don't even want to go down that road. Tyler Guyton's got a lot to learn, but he's struggling, man. He's struggling quite a bit, and
penalty machine, dude.
Yeah. In terms of positives, man, DeMarvion Overshown is such a beast, and it's like, with all these guys that are out right now, all the guys that are hurt, just having him out there just helps so unbelievably much because he's everywhere. I feel like he can do anything. And then Jordan Lewis is just an absolute monster.
Yeah.
That dude is so fucking good, and I love how scrappy he is, all the shit talking and all that. It's a beautiful thing. So Super Bowl?
I mean, I wouldn't bet money on it, but I haven't seen anything that makes me think that they can't get there. I mean, I think it's unlikely they get there. I would say it's even unlikely they get to a conference championship game based on and I'm not just basing that on a history. I definitely think with the NFL, you got to go year by year. And then there's certain things that'll separate you, like, oh, we've got Pat Mahomes. That's different. But I think it's probably unlikely they get to a conference championship game, but I also don't think it's out of the question by any means. And we're just so early in the season. I mean, if you do have players like Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons, those are game-changing players that can make a difference.
I agree. They're a top 15 team in a league of parity. So let's see what happens. I mean, it's just as likely that they have a top 10 pick that they, win a playoff game. It's just the nature of the league.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do you get most of your sports information from us, or do you get it from just girls making bet predictions?
I scroll the internet, man. Anything I can find anywhere that's good information, I get it.
Okay, we're gonna put a video up, And then we're going to encourage you in the comment section to tell us what you think is going on here. It's a sports video. If you guys like sports talk, go ahead and throw that up, Theory, and we'll listen to her for a second. This is T-Math Sports.
I've got a really cool trip coming up with DraftKings, so stay tuned. Now let's get to the plays. We've got playoff baseball, my absolute favorite time in sports.
Same.
And of course, I've got plays in the rest of the games that are going on today, starting with Corbin Burns of the Baltimore Orioles to go over 4.5 strikeouts.
Okay.
The reason the Orioles got Burns is for situations like this. He is the go-to guy, and he better step it up in a position like this in the postseason. In September, he hit this over in 3 out of his 5 last starts, and he's got a 1.20 ERA.
Yep.
The Royals, I just can't buy in on them right now. I'm sorry, guys. I've seen a lot of people on the Royals as dogs today. I don't like it. They're just 3-7 through their last 10 games. They've got a bottom 10 K rate against right-handed pitchers through the last 15 days in baseball. Give me Burns to go over 4.5 strikeouts. Severino to go over 16.5 total outs in plus money right now. And last but not least, give me the Padres on the first 5 money line, the money line overall, and give me Michael King to go over 15.5 total outs today against the Braves. You cannot convince me that after a doubleheader yesterday and traveling to the West Coast, that the Braves are going to get things done. Be sure to sign up for the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now.
Okay. Did that change how you were going to bet?
No. But I this type of stuff pops up on my timeline, and I'm like, okay, what exactly is going on here? Like,
she's in a hurry and she's getting you sports information on the go.
Do you have another? Do you have another one, Jason? Because it is a theme. You know,
that's not the only one where she was in a hurry at the beach and she suddenly needed to. I forgot to post my picks today. Let me do a. Here's another one. Okay, let's see what happens here.
Time for the walking bets here in London, and we are here for the Vikings-Jets game. I've got a couple of plays that I want to go over.
They're always framed this
way.
way.
Bets are, of course,
I wonder
sponsored by DraftKings. So let's get to the plays, and I've got a special guest that's going to be putting a big amount of money on our biggest play for today. Let's give you guys a quick view of the game from the DK suite. It is
a view of the game.
Favorite play.
All right, you can kill it, Jason.
For today is going to.
Do you like that view of the game lasted like 2 seconds and it was back to the walking jugs?
And half the people who were watching checked out. Like, hey, man, hey, I don't need to see the game.
This is a social media phenomenon that I'm very, very interested in. And that is, hey, I've got some information and I'm going to frame it to where the screen is just below my boobies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jason, were you able to pull up that girl talking about the Loch Ness? That's our producer, DJ Theory.
Yes.
I want you to see this, Ben, because this was sent to me presumably because, as you know, I'm a huge fan of Nessie, our underwater ally. And so, you know, it's like something is sent to you and let's just, I don't know if we can hear her, but hit play and let's just listen.
The sight behind me here is Loch Ness, home of Nessie, my pet. This is actually the largest body of water in Scotland, and it has enough room to hold all the water from all the lakes in England and Wales combined.
That's really interesting.
Deep, it's dark, it's cold, and it's got a monster.
I see what you're talking about. The framing. This is great.
This fantastic sight behind me here is Loch Ness.
Okay. So after that, I'm watching that and I'm going, well, what's the deal on this? Why does this show up? And she has about 300,000 followers. And every single video is framed exactly like that. And she is just talking about the most average things. Hey, I'm in a field in Scotland. There's grass behind me. Have you seen grass before? I hope you like the grass. And every single one is framed just like that. And she's a buxom Scottish gal. And it's like, she doesn't have to frame it like that. But if she doesn't frame it like that, and she's just talking about the rolling hills of Scotland. She's got 4,000 followers, and she's not even making them bounce like DraftKings gal. But that is what 90% of the internet is. Hey, can I see part of your body? And if so, I'll listen to whatever you're talking about.
Or I'll turn the sound off. But it is, we do live in a jug world.
We do.
It is jug world. And it's, if you as you scroll through Instagram and you want to see the accounts that have the follows and all this, and dude, I'll stumble across this stuff, these different podcasts on social media. They'll put clips on Instagram and it'll show up while I'm scrolling, and it's like women talking about how much money they make on OnlyFans,
right?
And it's like 60 grand a month and stuff like that. And so this jug world that we live in, intersecting with social media, is just it just makes these accounts explode. And I feel, I don't want to be judgmental of, like, it's like our friend Kat had a comment up here that was like, okay, that the lady who's showing them off, probably her take was, here it is right here, getting views because of her attire. She knows her stuff. I bet she feels most people wouldn't take her seriously because she's a woman. Like, I know how these things make me feel, but I wouldn't pretend to know how they make women feel. I can imagine my wife would look at this and go, seriously, really? Like, why don't you just, if you have a point to make, just make the point. Mm-hmm. But she's leaning in on her sex appeal and growing her account. So I'm not mad at her, but it's like, I don't know. If a dude was walking, I probably wouldn't listen to his betting tips either.
Right. And the interesting thing about, well, she's doing that because no one will take her seriously. Like, the stats are not in their favor, but like, I look at someone like Mina Kimes. I mean, she's a monster in the media world. Yeah. And everything that she does is about her content. Now I realize perhaps that's an outlier. And if you look at sideline reporters and anchors in sports, almost all of them are attractive women, objectively attractive. I guess everyone's got their own tastes and standards. But that is, that's where we get into the whole idea of is something objectifying what you're doing. And it's hard to argue that, because the girl doesn't have to walk. All right, we're going to do, it's walking bets, right? I'm on the go. No, you don't have to do that, but you're doing that to get the bounce, because the bounce will attract more followers. And hey, man, I guess whatever, we're talking about her, so she certainly has done a good job expanding her fan base, I guess.
Right. I just, that thing would pop up on my timeline, and I was just like, what is this? Like, I don't even understand how to process all this. This is, but hey, man, it's like, if that's your thing, I mean, I think she's got a lot of followers, so that's not surprising, right?
I mean, look at us. We're doing video because we're such a fucking smoke show. I mean, this is probably too hot for a lot of you folks. You probably have to turn away because you're so aroused by looking at this.
Right.
Look right in the camera. Look deep into the camera.
Smolder.
Yep. Do you want to bend the news?
Yeah, let's bend it.
Let's bend.
It's weird and wild. Let's see what's coming down the wire in the News Bender with pedestrian news fella, strip mall Steve Shackelford.
Oh, I'm ready to bend some news. I hope you are too here. Let's see if the screen share's working there. Could we get my image up? Perfect. Skin, Ben, I don't see you on screen, so I'm just going to talk at the void. A Georgia nursing home has been rocked by a knife fight over a stolen can of Vienna sausages. Apparently, 2 residents of a nursing home got into a verbal altercation after one resident accused another of stealing his can of Vienna sausages. As the disagreement escalated, one of the residents used a knife to stab the other in the chest.
Do we have ages on these people?
I do not have ages. They are in nursing homes, so I'm going to presume over 65.
Dude, if you've been sent to the nursing home at 66 or 67, you're not doing well, dude.
Nope.
Did you create this picture?
That's real.
This is very real. That's right. This was taken on site.
One guy is Nick Cage. The guy on the left is Nick Cage. And the Vienna sausages, it's so funny. That's not what Vienna sausages look like. That's hot dog size sausages. Vienna sausages are short, little stubby sausages. But I respect the shit out of this graphic because it's two dudes arguing. The guy on the left's really not that old, though. I don't think he should be in that home.
No, he's 45 and just prematurely balding. Yeah. Okay, so to Ben's point, a normal Vienna sausage can is a third that size. So please tell me about how this graphic was created. I'm more interested in that than the Vienna sausage story now. What did you tell AI to make this?
Man, I believe my prompt was two old men in nursing home arguing over two old men in nursing home arguing. One of them has a can of Vienna sausages in his hand. That's about it.
Wait, hold on. Does the guy on the right have 3 hands?
Probably. I didn't check. Yes, he does. He does have 3 hands. Yeah, good call, Skin.
Okay. I think that makes it more of a fair fight because if you look, the guy on the left doesn't have a single wrinkle. He's doing well, but the guy on the right has 3 arms, and I believe that's 6 fingers on his middle arm.
I think he does have 6 fingers.
One of the guys is missing a finger, though, so the younger guy is definitely missing a finger on his left hand.
Yes,
he looks like he's down. It's tough out there in AI world.
AI doesn't quite have it down just yet. The AI is getting close. It's just not quite there yet.
Steve, if you have some spare time, can you do walking jug gal prognosticator and just see maybe it may give a picture of that lady from T-Math Sports exactly.
It might. I'll have to be careful. That's why I didn't put knife in here. I have already stumbled across a thing or two that I think violates AI guidelines where I put in things like big jugs, and it's like, hey, man, we can't generate you just giant ladies with jugs on them, okay? So I need to use dirtier AI programs is what it sounds like.
Okay, in y'all's experience, what do you think? Because I think Vienna sausage is a top old person food.
Yeah, sardines, Vienna sausages, canned meats. People used to be way more comfortable with canned meats, and I don't know if it's like a World War II thing. So many people ate rations and military servings and things like that, but my dad used to crush Vienna sausages, and it has that small sausage afterbirth like gravy in it where it's just like a clear, hazy gelatin, but he would eat sardines. Any canned meats, he was fine.
Do you know what a word if this word is ever involved, I'm not going to like the end result, and that word is gelatinous. Mm-hmm. Anything that is gelatinous is not going to work out for me.
Yeah. What about creamed?
Hey, dude. What's wrong with you? I like creamed corn. You like creamed corn, don't you, Ben?
Yeah, it's delicious.
I don't know who Corn is, but...
Good for him.
It's a band.
All right, in other news... Apparently, Gen Z job seekers are making their parents call and plead to hire them. Don't laugh at the graphic, please. Boss says they are not prepared. So a UK plumbing boss says that he's having parents call for his Gen Z boss or for his Gen Z candidates, and says, the applications they get, it's never actually them applying. It's always their parents. And when we do meet with the applicants, they don't want to be there. We're having a hard time recruiting young 20-something plumbers in the UK.
By the way, I think a lot of the youths of today understand the value of trade schools, and because they like how much money they can make right out the gate. Now, I realize we live in North Texas where there is a boom where there's not in other places. But if you don't have the desire to do the 4-year college and drop, $100,000, trade schools are pretty legit, and there is a lot of opportunity in plumbing if you want to get out. And plumbers are getting paid nice change. I don't think that girl is, but
yeah. So I'm interested to know where we came up with the Super Soaker news graphic budget because clearly we're spending some money on these photos, and I'm fine with it. They're great. They add to the story, but Let's examine this one. Over on the left side are the guts of the toilet. I've never seen that. Like all the innards of the toilet are there on the left, and it's also looks like a brown paper towel dispenser. Then there's some regular white Bounty paper towels there as well. She's sitting down on a toilet in overalls, and I guess she's got her tools there. And she looks like she's calling her parents going, hey, why did you get me this job?
Okay, let's also, Ben, if I might add, someone explain to me what that tool is in her left hand. That looks like a giant, like a thicker giant what the dentist uses to scrape plaque off of your teeth.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, but it works for the story. Compliments to the chef, Steve, because it does work. It looks like she doesn't want to be there. She's young. Her parents probably got her the gig, and now she's bad at doing plumbing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it does work. And I'm just trying to hang with the kids because this British guy did claim that he blames all of this on YouTube and TikTok. He says that's the problem. Unfortunately, they don't want to plumb. They just want a TikTok.
Okay, I do care very much. What did you put European or UK or something like that into your AI image?
I don't think I did. I think I just went with confused Gen Z. Confused Gen Z person fixing a toilet and yelling into a cell phone.
Because I wondered if that all that exposed piping is more common in the UK. I don't know. Just workshopping it here.
I will say a lot of the results did look rather UK-ish for plumber. I didn't get crack on any of them. I didn't see heavy-set guys. So every Gen Z they presented me was relatively trim and usually looked like a Brit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot 22-year-olds, women over there.
I like that gal.
Me too. All right, in other news, this is not AI generated. This is 100. This is 100% real. Other than the party on there.
Ben, guess the story.
Yeah, good call. Guess the story.
Okay, is the guy on the left? Does he have? Is that his phone in his underwear?
I did notice that earlier. I believe it is his phone. Yes.
Yeah. That is a party. And the guy in the middle is wearing one of those Tony Romo, Jason Witten hats that has no logo on it. It's just hat.
He kind of looks like Romo.
It's a hat brand hat.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, the guy with his back to us is saying, "I'm gonna guess his voice."
Okay.
Okay, boys, we're going to square off from other sides of the room, and the party's going to enter right in the middle.
Everyone had matching towels.
I'm a guy that'll stand with my hand kind of like this, so I don't want to, stereotype, but it is an interesting.
Yeah, it is.
It is interesting.
That's not a great-looking bar to the right.
It is. It's as if he's a stripper coach. And he's like, guys, first half of the party, we got to make some adjustments. You got to stop carrying your phone in your underwear. That's a weird look. You on the right, why the generic black hat? Let's get out there, make these adjustments. Second half of the party is going to be way better. Ready, break.
That's great. Dude, in the middle of that, I looked up and I saw Steve take a drag off a vape.
It was a Starbucks. I wish I was dragging off a vape right now.
Okay, so what's the real story here?
This is not your mother's Tupperware party. The type of gathering once reserved for 1960s suburban housewives placing bulk orders for plastic containers is now hawking a very different product. Men's underwear. It's an exciting new approach to shopping for underwear. That's right. You can sip and snack as you browse products from a startup named Alfix. It's known as the Porsche of underwear.
Oh, Ben! They one-upped you because you like to say the Cadillac of underwear, but they went with the Porsche of underwear.
Yeah, so I think if it's the Porsche of underwear, it's hard to get in and out of. Right?
Oh, yeah, you got to get down low.
It's like really hard to utilize it, and it's built for speed.
Built for speed, not for access.
Right. Yeah, you don't want the dump truck of underwear, but I don't think you want the small race car of underwear either.
By the way, shout out to Daniel Sanchez who gets it when he says, Brock Hoffman.
Brock Hoffman.
It's impossible to not say it that way. It's truly impossible.
I always go to what Skin said. Everyone had matching pads.
Oh, man. I love Fred. Apparently this intimate type of party flips the script on the age-old tradition of men buying lingerie for women. So I guess a lot of women attend these parties and ogle at the dudes in underwear. I did not see any women in this photo, though. So I don't know if they're just lying to me about that. But it's a community aspect. Invite your buddies, it says. Quote here, my friends who I haven't seen in a long time. I got to see them at an event and talk to them and know that they bought the same pair of underwear as well and talk to them about how theirs fit.
I just don't think that's a selling point, and I think that's the end of the news. You want to just end it right here, Ben?
Yeah, I have lots more news.
I don't think he has any more news.
No, I don't. You probably should have prioritized it better. No more news. Bye, Steve. Did you see that? It immediately went to a picture of Wilford Brimley. Is that what that? I don't know.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
Well, we'll have to go back and check the tape later. Thank you to Steve for the news bender. He did a really amazing job there. And wow, the AI pictures adds an element I never saw coming, dude.
Yeah, really, really impressive stuff. I can't believe he didn't have more news than that, though.
Yeah, he didn't seem to have much. Now, we will say, if you enjoy the music at the beginning of the show, our theme song, as well as the countdown that gets you ready for a world unknown. I just can't.
World unknown.
We're not ready. I love that so much. Steve is responsible for that as well. So if you enjoy, his fine work, leave it in the comment section. He is also at Strip Mall Steve on the X or the Twitter if you would like to follow him. So, okay, dude, I'm looking at the clock. Let's get into. I think we have time. I think we can do a little salon talk and then squeeze in some Mavs talk at the end. You up for that?
Yeah. So. I am a guy who has always picked at my fingernails. I don't bite my nails. To me, that's gross because your hands are like the dirtiest thing in the world. It's like your hand, a kitchen sink, those types of things are dirtier than your toilet. And so I don't like the idea of ever putting my fingers in my mouth. But I do pick at my nails, and it's like a nervous habit. And I don't like having long nails. It's just not my thing. I don't like playing basketball and getting cut by Freddy Krueger out there playing with long fingernails, so I don't ever want to do that to anybody else. So, I had noticed recently my nails had grown out. So there's a look. I don't know if you can zoom in, Jason. No worries if you can't, but this was the other day. That's how long my fingernails had gotten.
Okay.
Pretty long, right?
Yep. Which, by the way, dude, do you remember Deion Sanders' take on nails from back in the day? He told us this when we were at ESPN, and it always stayed with me. If he judges people by looking at their nails and how clean they are. And if he looks down and sees a man, he's talking about men here, with dirty nails, he thinks that's a disgusting person and wants nothing to do with them.
Wow.
And that always stuck with me because I was like, I've never even heard anybody have a hot man nail take. That's amazing to me, but that's how primetime was.
So I have noticed, like, every once in a while you see a professional athlete's hands and you notice that they're finely manicured. And it's not like there's nail polish or anything on them, but they look really good. They have a little bit of that white end. I don't even know what it's called on the end of it. And they're not sharp or whatever. And I've just always wondered, I've always felt bad that I destroy my fingernails. I don't think it's a good look. Right.
Yeah.
And so I asked my wife, I was like, hey, I think I want to go to a nail salon and just try this out. I've always wanted to try it. And she was like, yeah, you want a pedicure for your feet? I was like, no, I don't want to mess with my feet. I want my fingernails. And she goes, okay, you need to go in and ask for a manicure. And I'm like, all right. So Sunday, I had some time, and I called this nail salon that was near me, and it was in Salina, and so I went to it. And I was a little nervous going to it. I felt weird. Like, man, I've never done this. I'm probably going to walk in. There's going to be Based on every stereotype I've seen about this, it's going to be an Asian proprietor, and there's going to be a thick accent when they talk to me about what I want, and I was kind of looking forward to that, or I was looking forward to it busting the stereotype, just having it be, "Hey man, what you want with your nails? We got you."
It's me, Billy Joe Bob, and I'm here to make your nails look good.
Howdy, partner. And so I got there, and it was nothing but women, and it was everyone that worked there was of the Asian persuasion.
Oh,
and when I called, they were like, "Yeah, I can get you in right now if you come." I'm like, "All right, what the hell? I'll come up there right now." Every staff member was busy with someone when I walked in, and so I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to wait in here." It smelled terrible. It smelled like chemicals.
Yeah.
And so they called a lady out of the back, and she was young, super young, and I don't know if she was like their backup or maybe she wasn't. She definitely wasn't number one on the depth chart. And so I sat down in a chair. I didn't even know which side to sit on. She was like, "Sit down here, put your hands on this thing." And she immediately just started cutting my fingernails so much. It was a terrible experience. Like, they look terrible. It doesn't look anywhere what I thought it was. I think she went too short. Like, the nerves are exposed a little bit. And Jason, I took a picture of it in my in the parking lot as I was leaving, and you can tell the difference. And yeah, it hurt. She was kind of look how it's not even. They're not even all the same proportion, right?
That's not a real pedicure, dude. Or manicure, I should say. That's not a good. That's really poorly done. I think it might have been just someone that was also a customer walked up and started working on your hands.
She kept saying
the end of the bench. Ben got the end of the bench there.
Yeah, absolutely.
She kept saying sorry. She apologized, and she kept putting extra stuff on my. I think she was cutting me in certain places. But it was a terrible experience. I could have easily done this. I could have just cut them down to the nub and exposed all the nerves. It was a horrible experience, and I will never, ever do it again.
No. That sucks because you got screwed. First of all, second or third of all, how much did you pay for this?
$20.
What?
That's what it was, $20.
Okay. Yeah, that person didn't work there. Those things are so much more expensive than that.
Yeah, that was a $20 manicure. I just
it was.
That makes sense.
I think they discounted you. Hey, man, don't do anything gross.
Yeah.
I think they discounted you because they knew they had someone that had never cut your nails. We need to get you at a better place. I am a fan of a pedicure and a manicure. Now, I'm a much bigger fan of a pedicure. I highly recommend a pedi. Pedis are dope.
On your feet?
Not only do they work your nails, okay, I'm talking about on your feet. They get your nails all fixed up, but then they soak it in this hot water, and it feels so good, dude. It's about, a 45-minute experience, and pedicures are fantastic. I have had a few, manicures before. But for me, the pedi is where it's at. I highly recommend it, dude.
Man, I that's what I hear. That's great. I probably will go do that. I think it's a gross habit to pick at your nails, and it's something I've been guilty of. And so I just thought, hey, what the hell? I'll stop doing this. And when I notice people that have their nails aren't all chewed down or picked down, and I'm like, hey, that's kind of a good look.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what the hell, man? I'll try to do something that looks good and that, I don't know, it just doesn't look as disheveled and as these uneven nails. But dude, she butchered me, bro.
Yeah, you got butchered. Did you tip?
Yes, I am an over tipper, and it's a legit problem. I'll give you an example. Whenever I go to Starbucks, and I go to Starbucks way too often.
Holy shit, Ben.
They hand me the thing, and they're like, in the drive-thru, they hand you the thing. It's going to ask you a question, and then, and you're like, the question is, do you want a tip on a $7 coffee or a $5 coffee or a $9 coffee, whatever it is? And I always feel so guilty by not doing it because I've worked in the service industry. I know the job sucks, but man, I don't want to tip while you hand me an expensive coffee. If you go through Starbucks with the app, can you avoid If you pay with like the app, you hold it out. Do you avoid the tip?
I really have no idea. I don't know. I'm not. I don't have the Starbucks app, and I don't think I. Oh, Jason's popping in.
Yeah, you can avoid it, but it still hits you digitally, and it'll let you tip after you've made the transaction. So like down the road,
So it's
in your
Uber.
car, it's like, hey, don't forget your balance.
Yeah, that's like an Uber thing. You know, hey man, we're watching you. Are you going to give more money or what? Because we don't pay our employees enough. We leave that to you. We overcharge you for the coffee and then expect you to pay our employees.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the Starbucks thing.
Yeah, so
Well-
I tipped. I think I tipped $10. I felt bad for her. But I was like, wow, I've missed nothing. This absolutely sucks. But you're saying it was just a bad experience. I caught the B team butcher.
I think you caught someone that was their very first time. In fact, I think they were running
That's
a
some
training.
bullshit, Skin.
No, I'm serious. They were running a training program, and they thought that you walked in. They go, that guy doesn't know anything about nails. We'll send hey, why don't you go do your first job over on that guy? And I think that's what happened to you.
The only noise that was happening in the whole place was one lady having a conversation on a phone in a foreign language. And so she had her earpods in or whatever, and it was loud. Like she was clearly the boss of the whole shop because she was just having this super loud conversation in a foreign language. Everyone else was terrified to speak.
Do you does Kat go and do the nail thing often?
I don't know how often she goes. I know her and Grace go every now and then, but
Yeah.
her nails look nice. But
Was that the same place she sent you?
No, she didn't send me anywhere. I just looked on. I went to the closest possible place I could go to because I just wanted to get it over with. I was nervous about it. I was like,
so here's what I would recommend. And like I know that my wife and my daughter both have a regular person they go see because they love that person.
mm-hmm.
So Kat may have a regular person, she may not, but get her advice on where to go. And the next time you go, dude, seriously, do the pedicure. Wait, I have them mixed up. Manicure's hands, pedicure. Yeah, do the pedicure. And when you do the pedicure, I did this in 2011 with my wife. Have them paint on your big toe a blue big toe, and then in white put 41 on it.
okay,
Yeah, it's the thing to do.
That's a nice touch.
Speaking of, that may be a transition. Would you like to talk a little Dallas Mavericks basketball?
I would. You got to go to that preseason game last night, and I just got to see highlights. And you know, there's a couple different storylines that are important to me that I'm watching or tracking or that I'm curious about. And one of them is the development of Derek Lively II, and to another, maybe lesser degree, PJ Washington. Can PJ develop? I would love to see that too, but he's a little bit older. I'm just, Derek Lively just superseded or exceeded all of my expectations last year. And so I've been spending a lot of time thinking, like, how much better could he get? Okay, so if he starts shooting threes, that would be pretty cool. He hit one in the finals, but what could he really do to improve? And then I saw this highlight. Do you have that highlight, Jason, that I sent you? No worries if you don't. It's he went coast to coast with the rock and was switching hands. Oh yeah, I think this is it.
This is it.
And that restores the lead for Memphis. Look at this. Look at this. Lively. He scores inside with a foul. Come on, man.
I mean, that blew me away when I saw that. And first of all, he looks bigger. He looks more muscular. Like he worked hard in the offseason. It looks like I don't. You can probably tell me if that's true, but it looked like he put on some muscle.
It looks like he's more filled out.
But to be able to go coast to coast like that and switch hands and spin and finish at the bucket, I'm like, dude, what did I just see?
Yeah, go back and show it again, and I'll show you the moment where I was like, oh. And it has to do with, there's a lot of things here, but it has to do with seeing the floor. That was the thing that blew me away the most, because go back right here. He sees the floor open, and he sees that Clark is retreating. And if you look, The floor, look how the floor is spaced. Okay, this is how the floor would be spaced if Luka had the ball. People are running to shooter spots to spread the floor. And so he sizes up the big and says, that guy can't stay in front of me laterally. And you'll even see he goes down like he's in an attack position. And one thing that when you have certain moves, you work to get to a spot. We know how we were talking last week about, hey, man, just have Grace use her left to get back to her right.
Right.
Well, so he is going to get back to finish with his right, but he crosses up, but he knows what he wants to get to a spot to where he's going to pivot and plant.
Mm-hmm.
And he does it in traffic. It's very, very exciting. Because not only does he have the ability to do it, but it shows that he's been working on certain things where he can get to his right hand or get to his strength and manipulate the floor in order to do it. That's really awesome stuff, man.
Yeah, and it's almost like, I don't know, when Elvis Andrus would make some beautiful play at shortstop, and we just take it for granted because that's what he does. He's a phenomenal defensive player. The way that Lively finishes at the bucket when you just throw a lob up, like I saw Dinwiddie throw one up last night, and it's like, it just looks so effortless, like he doesn't even have to try. And I know in sports, the best athletes look like they're putting out minimal effort and they just glide and they just do it and they make it look easy, no matter what the sport is. And he makes those look so unbelievably easy, but they're not. Like the way you just have to throw the ball anywhere near it. He's such a freak athlete that he can catch it and flush it. It's such a beautiful weapon for them to have.
Memphis pretty much had their full team out there last night except for Jackson Jr. And the Mavericks didn't have 4 starters. And it was, their best players. And, it's a preseason game. You don't want to put too much into it. But I was blown away last night with the depth and quality of the depth that the Mavericks have. And there are some insane battles for playing time. And on this team, you are going to have to be willing to sell out on defense, I think, in order to, because we're talking about at one point last night, I looked out on the floor and Grimes, Hardy, and Spencer Dinwiddie were all on the floor. And then Najee Marshall was checking in, I think, for Spencer Dinwiddie. But I'm like, those guys are all playing for the same backup minutes. And I wonder, too, if when we get into the season, I think there's going to be stretches where Spencer Dinwiddie doesn't play, and then Kyrie takes a game off, and suddenly Dinwiddie's in the starting lineup. It may not be that extreme, but Hardy is going to get minutes as a scorer. And I don't know if it's consistent minutes, but, man, he's a walking bucket. And I think him getting really incredible minutes in that Timberwolves Western Conference Finals was huge for him. I think Grimes has the ability to turn guys defensively. I think Najee Marshall has a good all-around game. And I think that there might be times where they want to get Omax on the floor. I think he can take a big leap. This is a really outrageously deep team. And if they can maintain a high record and not rely heavy minutes for Kyrie, Luka, and Clay, that's the trick. That's what Jason Kidd is going to have to figure out how to do.
You know what would complicate that is if, and I'm not saying this as a negative in any way, but if Luka really wants that MVP, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's a great thing, but because all I care about is getting to the postseason and having Luka and Kai and Clay, having them be fresh.
Right.
And so that depth should help you over the course of the regular season to where you can lean on a lot of different guys and guys don't get burnt out along the way because that postseason tournament is all that matters. But if Luka is really wants that MVP, it's a great thing to be that good to where you could potentially go get it. Then he may not want to come out of games, and he may not want, and he is hyper competitive. He may not want to ever be out. And so if that is a priority for him personally, does he get gas chasing that? And it's such a weird thing to bring up. I don't know.
It's not. I think it's valid.
I just want him to be fresh, and I don't judge him for if that's what he wants to do, because I'd love to see him win the MVP. But I think of the two things, I would rather he was fresh than win that. I don't know.
It's more, in my opinion, he already put up stats last year. The MVP is a year behind. It's way more important that the Mavericks are in the top 2 seeds in the West in the early part of the year. If they get off to an amazing start record-wise, his numbers can go down and he can win the MVP. That's generally what they do. You have the monster year with your numbers, and then the record's got to back it up. And so by them going to the finals, and if they get off to a really great start this year, then I think that'll do more for his chances than he's got to play a lot for them to win games, and he's, playing 36, 38 minutes a night, closing in on 40 minutes in order to get that 30-point triple-double. I think that will mean less in the minds of the people that decide these things.
Yeah.
I want to show you something right quick. So Memphis drafted this guy, Zach Edey. You may have seen him before. Big time scorer for Purdue. So last night, his mom was sitting right behind us, and it was pretty obvious that it was his mom because she was about 6'3", wearing a Zach Edey jersey, and she was a woman of Asian descent. Now they're Canadian, but it was pretty obvious that's who it was, and I had seen her on TV before, so I knew. And as I was leaving the arena last night, she was walking right in front of me, walking towards the parking garage, which I thought was kind of weird. It's like, why wouldn't she's walking towards it? She drove here? Like, where's she from? And so I can't remember the first thing I said to her. I was like, that must have been pretty fun tonight to see your son, huh? And she's walking with her phone, and we're not that far from one another. And she like kind of looks over and she goes, oh yeah, that was really neat. And so in my mind, I'm like, she has no idea who I am, obviously. And so in my mind, I'm like, where is she going? And I was like, so where do you guys live these days? And she goes, I'm sorry, I feel like I've shared too much with you.
She said that?
Yeah.
Okay, because you're a stranger and you're asking her for her social security number.
Yeah, and we're walking towards a parking garage, and it's just her and me, and it's nighttime.
And you're sketchy.
And I'm very sketchy.
Yeah.
I had eased my pants down. No, and I was like, oh, hey, I'm very sorry. That was incredibly presumptuous of me. You were sitting behind us. I work on the Mavs TV broadcast. And she immediately, everything about her demeanor changed. She goes, she started apologizing.
Okay.
And I was like, no. You were not in the wrong. I was in the wrong. I should have introduced myself before starting a conversation with you. I had just seen you sitting right behind us. And so I just felt comfortable talking. I'm very sorry. But yes, you have to be that way. I mean, think about living your life that way. You're like, what does this stranger want from me? Right. And now that her son is, going to be starting, I don't know he's going to start, but going to get a lot of time in the NBA. I just thought it was a really funny exchange.
Yeah, that is a funny exchange. I don't know. I don't think you did anything wrong at all, but I appreciate her being defensive and protective because I want my wife to be like that. My wife lives in this protective bubble, this world where there's nobody crazy trying to do anything bad to you out there, but that's not the reality. And so I'd rather somebody had their guard up,
especially on the road. But also like she has no way. I mean, I end up talking to players' parents all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, for the longest time, PJ Washington in Charlotte, his dad would sit behind us and we would have conversations with him. It's just, you just have that sort of access and you get comfortable. I was overly comfortable, but I do, before we skedaddle, I want to show this picture. Don't put it up yet, Jason, because on the broadcast, a guy checked in for Memphis. He's like a Japanese B-League MVP, and his name is Kawamura, and he's 5'8". Okay, Zach Edey is 7'4". And I was immediately reminded of a picture from the Washington Bullets in the 80s of Manute Bol, who is 7'6", I believe, with 5'3" Muggsy Bogues. And so we were talking on the stream. It was on Mavs.com. So the Memphis people back home could watch it. And so we were talking. I go, man, do you guys remember that old school picture of Muggsy Bogues and Manute Bol? It was a real famous picture. And we started talking about it. The producer of the Memphis broadcast texted the producer of the Dallas Mavericks broadcast, Dave Keeney, and said, we did a bit on that on Media Day, exactly what you're talking about. And I would like to show you the picture now as Zach Edey and Kawamura recreated the famous Manute Bol Muggsy Bogues picture.
Wow. How about that?
Here's what's so insane. As Kawamura was out there on the floor, he looked tiny. He's 5 inches taller than Muggsy Bogues. Think about that. Muggsy Bogues balled out in the NBA for at least a decade at 5'3".
That's got to be one of the greatest sports accomplishments of all time.
I'm with you. And started for some good teams. And I don't remember the exact details, Ben, but later in life, he had some issues, and I think it might have been related to the health of his mother. And Mark Cuban, I think, briefly put him on the roster or did something to get him some money. I can't remember exactly what it was. It might have been, I don't know. I'll look it up. I should have looked it up before we did the soaker, but I do remember Cuban stepping up. And there is a video out there of Muggsy Bogues talking about Cuban just out of nowhere doing something to help him out like that. So dude, I know Matt fans like to hear that stuff about Mark.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love to see that. Oh man. So it's been a great soaker. Is that about everything?
Yeah, I think so. I know Jason, our producer's got to run, but tell everybody about the complete fun package. And we need to go ahead and think about the next thing we're going to give away to everybody.
Yeah, so we started this thing called the Complete Fun Package. If Jason, if you'd put the link here in the comments on YouTube so folks can see it, or Twitter, wherever it is, and if any of you have the link, please blast it for us. I know it's up on our social media and the bio pieces, but basically we started this thing called the Complete Fun Package, and it's like a listener loyalty program. It's a way for us to send you emails, let you know, hey, we're going to go live this week. We got this going on next week. And so in exchange for you guys giving us your email so we can communicate, we're not going to spam you, but we want to reward you guys with some things. And so like last April, I think it was, we gave away a meet and greet with Luka. And so those are the types of things we're going to be giving away. So imagine, who would you want to do a meet and greet with? Maybe we could put that together. We're going to give that away. We're going to give away a big screen TV. We're going to give away tickets to sporting events and concerts. And all you have to do is sign up. And when you sign up, there's like 3 or 4 quick questions. How'd you find out about the Ben and Skin show? Where do you listen to us? Those types of things. And there's the link. So Ben and Skin, put it up there, the Ben and Skin account.
It's all part of the complete fun package we're throwing out here.
Hell yes. So do us a favor. If you see us posting on Ben and Skin on any of the social media platforms, hit the like button, leave us a comment. All that stuff helps us immensely. And then be sure to join the Complete Fun Package. It takes about 30 seconds. It's free, and you could win some cool stuff. So go join the Complete Fun Package.
Go join it, and don't forget to listen to us today and every day, 3 to 6 on 97.1 The Eagle for the Ben and Skin Show. He's Ben, I'm Skin. Thank you to DJ Theory. Thank you to Strip Mall Steve, who crushes it every time. And we will see you here Thursday at 10 a.m. Listen to us on The Eagle in the meantime. Bye, everybody!
This has been another Iron Balls production.
Iron Balls!